What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Have More Than Money. We are doing our first video from our new crib out in Las Vegas. And before we jump into any crazy content, we want to have on a very special guest, our earliest mentor. We call him Wavy, Mike Brusca.
What's up, guys? I noticed my camera's not coming in too bright, so it's going to be Wavy after dark. I'm ready.
Wavy after dark. I love that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Wavy, he's doing great things with his brother, and so he pretty much put us on to a lot of the knowledge that we have today. So we're pretty much going to spend this interview kind of just picking your mind. I hope you don't mind, Wave.
That's what I expected. Nothing less.
Yeah.
Nothing less.
I mean, this guy honestly taught us from the beginning. That's the craziest part about all of it, is that we've come to this position where we're teaching so many people, and it's great to pay homage to the person that taught us. One of the two at least. So anyway, to start this interview, Mike, obviously, we're talking here about e-commerce, drop shipping, etc. But let's take it back to what made you start e-commerce? Obviously, you had a full-time job, or why don't you get into that story?
Yeah, so I mean, for the people that don't know me, my name is Mike. Myself and my brother Joe run Build Assets Online. And so since 2014, my brother was getting into different things on Amazon. So he started out by just going to retail stores like Walmart, Big Lots, and going to clearance sections and essentially finding things that you could buy there and sell for more on Amazon. So that's called retail arbitrage. So he started making money kind of as a side hustle that way when he was at his job. He's 5 years older than me. So there came a point where he was actually able to quit his job and just resell things on Amazon. And so myself, I was in college at this point, and I had tried to get into what he was doing, wasn't too into it. I was comfortable where I was. And then I graduated, got a chemical engineering degree, got kind of a regular job, and was just in my cubicle every day. And before then, I had gone to Thailand right after I graduated. And it was kind of a depressing situation going from having this crazy time in Thailand, knowing that there's these people that make money online, they're living, this lifestyle where they can travel whenever they want, do whatever they want. And I didn't have that. I was about to go back to, this cubicle job. So at that point, it sparked in me that I wanted to do what my brother did and do something online. So it came to a point where I started looking into doing stuff on Amazon, and then I came to Kindle publishing. So if you're not familiar with what Kindle publishing is, essentially you can just have books written for you, and we do fiction books. And so what we do is we take those, we have them written for us in particular genres. We tell them what to write. We have the covers made. It's all kind of outsourced, and we upload it to Amazon, and we can actually collect royalties and build a fan base of fiction books just basically through our computer, and you can do it anywhere in the world. So I started doing that in 2015 in November, and I just went crazy with it. I was able to quit my job in 4 months or something. So, I did that, and then I immediately went back to Thailand and lived there for 2 months with my friend, just doing Kindle publishing. But eventually we started to realize that just using Amazon is not a stable way to go about doing things, because Amazon made one rule change and essentially our whole business almost got wiped out. So we realized, my brother and I, that we needed to do something more stable. So we got into doing drop shipping, and that's really, came to be what we did the most of, where we made, a lot of our income doing the high ticket drop shipping. And obviously you guys know about that. We and obviously people listening know about that too. So, there's that.
Before you go on any further, I mean, honestly, why don't you tell us, so you were working your full-time job, right? But while working the job is when you started e-commerce, correct? You didn't quit your job first.
I did. Actually, so what happened was I'd put in my 3 weeks for my job. I was ready, Kindle was going.
Yeah, your business was already going,
and
though.
I was ready to quit. And so I think the week that I was quitting my job because of Kindle.
Okay.
Yeah. I had nothing to do with dropshipping at that point.
Yeah.
And so the week before I was supposed to leave, my Kindle business got suspended, as did Joe's. And so basically our primary income source was about to get wiped out. Joe actually just bought a house as well at that point.
How much was the Kindle business making at that point, if you don't mind me asking?
Between $8,000 to $12,000 a month.
Wow.
Okay, and before, I remember the first time I heard about this, I think Jared told me, I was honestly just mind blown because you make it sound so simple. So you have other people write books for you, and then you go out and sell those books. So
Yes.
do the people who wrote them, do they get kicked back any kind of commission, or do you pay them a one-time fee?
No, so it's just ghostwriting. I know you guys like Drake, so it's kind of the same thing. No, I'm just kidding. I love Drake. But in any event, you pay writers, and so they just, we're taking a risk by putting out a book, and it may not make money. So the writer, they're doing something, they're going to be paid for their work, and so that's agreed on before they do it. They ghostwrite it. I get the book. I get the rights. So yeah, you could pay someone. It depends on kind of the level of quality. There's some really big ghostwriters. Maybe you pay them like 10 cents a word. I pay, I think, 1 cent a word.
Well, Mike, there's actually a question I'd like to ask. People ask us this in dropshipping, right? So I'm going to ask you this for Kindle. Why don't these writers just do the business themselves?
Because they have no idea how to do anything with marketing. And like I said, they're taking a risk. They can write this book. And this is oftentimes what happens with writers, actually, because I know writers that have become publishers. Like, I'll explain. They write what they think is interesting to them, and then they put it out, and no one cares. Okay. When it comes down to making fiction, it's really like TV. If you look at TV, all the shows are basically rehashes of similar shows, right? Like The Bachelor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They just keep making it because people want what they want. You have The Office, you have Parks and Rec. I can go on. But so you have to actually look into the market and do a really good job copying the themes that are working. And if you can do that, that's when you get a good market response. You can build an audience, and that's how you do it. So writers don't understand that. They just write stuff, they put it out, nothing happens. So it's an advantage for them to, get paid, get paid right away.
So do you have to come up with an elaborate story, or how does it work exactly? Because you're comparing it to TV, right? So what are you? Are you the producer? How? Explain a little bit more of the creation process.
More so a producer type role. I'm not coming up with the whole elaborate thing. I'm looking at what's selling well on Kindle, and I'm saying, okay, I want a book with this, this, and this. Maybe 3 to 5 different elements that I want to see happen. Maybe I want a happily ever after ending. I want, I want it to be a clean book. So no, steamy scenes, or Christian related, contemporary. So you kind of can just look at bestsellers and say, okay, you can pick out just by looking at the description and even the first few pages of the book, you can pick out patterns that are happening.
Okay. So do you read books in that niche that you're entering? Are you going to go out and read some parts of books?
Back in the day, I used to edit them myself. I would spend more time researching, but it got to a point where I get it now. I could see the patterns. I could look at the descriptions. Mm-hmm. And so I'll do that once every 4 months. And then I'll say, okay, I'll go to my writer, say, okay, I want a series of 4 books that has all this in it. And then so, they make the book, they, give me one every couple weeks. I get the cover made, I promote it, I send it to my list. I have other people promote it, which we talk about, when we teach it. So that's really the process. I'm just specifying to the writer exactly the things that I want to see, just kind of bullet points almost. And they take it from there.
Okay. And it seems like fiction is kind of a common theme. Is that not true, or you go from different genres?
So with Kindle, you have fiction and you have nonfiction, right? So nonfiction would be something like a cookbook. It'd be something like a business book. And while people do that, and you can obviously do really well publishing a nonfiction book, it's not the same, because you kind of have to put out one book and consistently keep that book doing well and hope that you can just garner an audience to that one book. With fiction, people will not only read that one book, but they say, hey, I want to read the next book and the next book. It's like TV, right? People, they find you, they're going to go and binge watch or binge read everything.
Okay.
So it's more of a voracious audience where they're constantly consuming content. You're not going to go and buy 20 books on magnesium or buy 20 paleo cookbooks.
So does it take like a long time to scale because of that reason? Or is the only way to scale it to have like a consistent fan base that, you know, almost like a pizzeria, like the same business model, like how you need to, you know, kind of keep marketing to the same people? Is that the way to scale it? Or like how do you grow the Kindle business at a quick rate? Like what would be the quickest way to go from $0 to $10,000 a month on Kindle?
Well, I would say first, kind of get your bearings and make sure that you understand how to create a book that people buy. And, you know, we can talk about like list building and stuff like that. But point is, you want people to land on the book on Amazon and actually buy it. And then therefore it goes up in the algorithm, more people find it, and then, you know, you gain fans organically, and then they sign up to your list, and then, you know, that whole process. So once you have that figured out, it's actually really easy to scale, because all you need to do is either pay for more leads, a combination of paying for more leads, or pay for more writers so that you can put out more books. And then, you know, you can do multiple pen names, you can do multiple releases a month. It kind of depends, you know.
Yeah.
The key factors in the business are actually very, very simple compared to drop shipping, or compared to even like something like SEO, where you just get more writers, build your list. That's it.
Define list, exactly.
So what I mean is, you are basically cultivating email lists of people that want to read these books. So within every, you know, fiction little niche, there's X amount of people that are really, you know, into that sort of content. Of course, most of them are on Amazon. A lot of them are on Facebook. And so you can harness them by, you know, you can do different things like Fiverr gigs. You can do Facebook marketing. We usually don't like Facebook, but for Kindle, it's kind of a different story. Or again, on Amazon, people will find you and they'll naturally, you know, they'll sign up for, say, a free book that you have, and they sign up for the book, they get on your list. And so now you have a collection of all the people that like to read your books. And so now every time you put out a book, these people are going to buy it and they're going to read it.
Well, Mike, let me ask you a question. So obviously we have a free ebook that we offer. Like, would we be able to market that on Kindle and maybe like grow our community that way?
Yeah, absolutely. You should, because you can put it up there for free. You know, that's kind of off topic, but if you have the book up there, obviously you're going to be tapping into Amazon's huge customer base. And so they'd be able to get your book for free without signing up to your list, but you want to have something in your book, and this goes for nonfiction, it goes for fiction, to again bring people off of Amazon, because that's the problem with Amazon, right? They have they have so much control. So we need to take back as much control as possible, and that's kind of what we're all about with Build Assets Online, is creating business models where you actually have control, or you actually have some sort of diversification. Because if you're just doing Amazon, I know people that do this, Amazon can change one thing and boom, you know, your income can drop significantly. And yeah, you can build it back up or do whatever, but that's not a way that you want to be living your life. You want to have multiple assets that you can build off of.
I wholeheartedly agree, because obviously me and Mike Lopez over here, we both started, I mean, not officially started, but kind of started with eBay dropshipping, and felt the wrath of getting kicked off a platform that has that much control. You know, like we experienced it ourselves the same way you did with Amazon Kindle, right as you quit your job, which is so crazy, right? Because it always seems like the really bad break happens right before the big break. And so right when that happened, right, obviously you realized you needed to pivot to something else. So was Joe already doing high ticket dropshipping at the time, or did you guys decide to do it together?
No, so we had Joe was trying drop shipping. He was doing some stupid course that we had bought through another Kindle course teacher. So they had taught drop shipping. They were flexing, I kid you not, they were flexing a 90-day Shopify screenshot, 12,000 in sales.
Oh no.
And we were like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't even know what this means. Yeah, so this is back in the day. This is 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So long story short, we got into, we found out about the high ticket, and then once it kind of happened all at once, right? So we got suspended on Kindle, and Joe was about to move into his new house, so he was with me. And so we basically had like 2 weeks where we were together, and we had nothing else to do at this point because of Kindle. We weren't going to focus on trying to build that business. So we had just really went balls to the walls doing the drop shipping. And so in 2 weeks, you know, went from nothing to making our first sale. You know, supplier secured, website built, ads run, first day, first sale.
2 weeks.
2 sales actually. 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So because you know, it's one of those situations where your back's up against the wall, right? Because if you know, I was doing Kindle, everything was going great. You know, I'm making $8,000 a month. I'm chilling in Thailand. Like, I'm not gonna put in this effort to make a dropshipping store. You know, my execution on it may not be as good. So it had to be a situation like that where we had no choice but to really, really focus on it. And that's really, I think, what plagues a lot of people these days, especially, you know, people of our generation, is that there's so many distractions. There's Instagram, you know, you can always be going and doing something outside of yourself. And when you do that, a lot of your attention, it gets dispersed. You know, you actually need to like cultivate focus. You have to remove all the distractions and just focus in on something. And that's how you actually get really good work done.
Yeah, you use the word focus. I usually say the same thing except with energy. You know, it's like where you put your energy into it, the results will always show. And like you said, it's so easy, you know, between like social media and like the actual media and so many different things trying to weigh down your attention. It's like if you can just put that all in one place and, you know, give it your all. You know, it seems like for you guys, you know, people always say you have to choose the best motivators are inspiration and desperation. And, you know, it seems like for you guys, desperation got the job done. And honestly, for me, I think from my experience, it seems like desperation usually pushes people more than just straight up inspiration.
Yeah, Joe and I were talking about this on a video recently. You know, yeah, we were referring to it as pain or pleasure. You can be motivated by one or the other, right? And so it's definitely pain, I think. And I was reading a book, one of the Persuasion or Influence by Robert Cialdini, who's like one of the world's foremost persuasion experts. And he was saying kind of the same thing, that people are going to really not care so much about not achieving a win, but they will go a lot further to avoid a loss.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great quote. And, you know, just to pivot the conversation back to high ticket dropshipping, I love that you brought up the pain or pleasure point, right? Because when you compare high ticket dropshipping to most business models, what you find about high ticket dropshipping, what makes it such a great business model, is the products you're selling don't really hit the pleasure scale as much as they hit the pain scale, right? Like, people buy our products because they need them. And when you're selling products that people don't need, it's not as likely or as easy to convert them into sales. But the products we're selling on high ticket dropshipping, it's literally products we need, and we're marketing it to people who, you know, are looking to find them. So, I mean, going back to, you know, high ticket dropshipping, you know, why don't you tell us, you know, after you guys made that first 2 sales in 2 weeks, which is obviously insane. Like, I think, Mike, it took our store like 2 months to make our first sale. I know my first store, it took me like 3 or 4 months to make my first sale. So to hear you guys made your first sale in 2 weeks, that just shows that you guys were, you know, kind of special or found something special. And why don't you tell us what happened after you made those first 2 sales?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was kind of disappointing, right? Like, we did this all really quick, and it was, you know, we had a really good result in getting those sales, but we actually struggled to generate good monthly revenue and even profitability. For the first several months, we were only making, you know, a couple $100 a month. Like, we really struggled to crack 1,000 profit for a good while. And yeah, I mean, eventually what happened was, you know, we had started learning things, you know, just doing different coaching calls, really trying to just dig in and figure out what we were doing wrong, because we knew we were onto something. Because sometimes we would make a sale, and that sale would cover 2 weeks of ad spend. So we were making money. We needed to kind of crack the code. So we spent thousands of dollars on advertising, on coaching, on all these things, conferences. And we eventually came up with this idea of how to make stores so that they don't fail. Because the problem we were running into was that we were running out of products to sell within the store. It was too niche down. So instead, we had to figure out a different way where if we can keep going and getting more suppliers and more suppliers, we were streamlining the process of finding that really good supplier, because we didn't have as big of an understanding even of doing ads like we do now and doing Google ads. So we kind of started with that. And then eventually over time, we really cracked the code in terms of how to do ads for high ticket dropshipping, because it's like you said, Jared, people need this stuff, or they just have so much money that it's just, they're going to buy it. And it's not, the problem is with low ticket or even FBA, anything where you're starting off building your own brand, people are not experienced enough for that. They don't understand the sales funnel. Like, you expect to go from doing nothing to understanding how to get a customer interested, aware of your product, interested in it, all the way down to buying it. It's ridiculous. And the manufacturing of it. So it's much easier to tap in and get wholesale accounts with brands that have been doing this for decades. They know what products work. They know what products sell. They already have demand. So obviously you know all this, but this is kind of the origin of, the way that we started figuring it out.
Yeah. And everything that you said is exactly, what all three of us teach to people. And it definitely gives me a more appreciation where it's like, obviously all this e-commerce stuff, we learned from you and Joe, and, just to hear that you guys really took that pitfall, and you obviously went through it and you had to figure out yourselves, and you guys really built the system. We were able to learn that, we were able to master it, and now we're pretty much helping other people avoid the same pitfalls that, you guys went through, and, even the ones that we went through that maybe you guys slipped through the cracks or whatever it was.
Yeah. I think it's inspiring for people to hear that you guys made sales and then struggled to make consistent sales. For how long did you say it took?
I don't know, because we made the store, we made the first sales, and then I went to Thailand again, like I said, for 2 months. So we were kind of not working on it for that time. So it had to be, I think we started our first store in March, and this was still an issue down into August when we made our second store. And then between, I'd say, November and December, we made 2 more stores, because that's the only way that we knew how to do things. But I would say we were stuck until we made that second store. We were stuck having a hard time cracking $1,000 a month.
Wow. And that's crazy, because like I said,
6 months.
I know Mike, being the ads coach for, MTM, like I know you experience this a lot with a lot of our clients. It's great. I think it's great for them to hear, and I'm sure even all of the Build Assets Online students to hear that, like, you guys weren't just so successful right away, and none of us were. We really all have been running Google ads for, at this point, years. And that's why we make it seem easy.
Well, let's talk about that, because that is an issue a lot of people have, is they think they're just going to come out of the gate and do really well. And so you can have the mindset, you can have all that, but I know both of you guys failed for a long period of time. And so, obviously, Jerry, when we were first grooming you to be the influencer you are today, we put you through the gauntlet of different things. We would just tell you, hey, like, this is, I don't know, try doing this. And so this went on for, how long do you think? A year, 2 years at least?
For me, it went on from the beginning of my freshman year of college all the way until the beginning of my junior year of college. So 2 years, 2 full years of just failing.
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said about that. I'm yet to see a person just come fresh out of the gate and just crush it. I think there's just some sort of success barrier there. There's just, I don't know, doing things online. Maybe there's a little bit of a learning curve just in general. And so you have to expect a little time to just gain your footing in this. So that's why the things that we teach is not like, we're not saying you're going to make money in 3 months, although you can, but what we do is for the long term. We want something that can work quick, but it can scale over long term. And the more that you do it, the better you get at it. And that's the problem with the majority of programs out there. And you guys understand that, because you guys have done different coachings, different courses, and it just doesn't scale. The skill set does not build. And therefore you wind up spinning your wheels for 6 months, and then you're not even closer to the goal. Whereas if with this, you can do it for 6 months, but you're going to be a lot further ahead in those 6 months than you were month 1.
Yeah, and exactly. I think it's great that you pointed out, what we're really building with these high ticket e-commerce stores. like what I try to explain to a lot of students is, you're building an infrastructure here. We're building a legitimate business that, stop thinking about the 2 to 4 or 5 month span and start thinking like, 2 years down the road, you're building something that you could potentially sell for well over 6 figures. And that goes for everything in life. When you have that longer term in mind, it makes it much easier to go through, the really crappy times.
Yeah. And so, it was maybe a year and a half after, those 6 months of struggling with making those sales that we sold one of our first website for $133,000.
Unreal.
There you go.
So,
Unreal.
and you know what? We got rid of it too early because it was like we figured it out and then things started going really good and we didn't know how to do the customer service to like a good degree. It just became overwhelming for us. And there was also that goal in mind. Like I had heard of people selling their stores, but up until that point, it wasn't a reality for me. So I wanted to really do that. Like I didn't even care that much if I could have waited 6 months and maybe get a better multiple or get more income out of it.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to do it just to kind of prove to yourself that it happens. And I said, you know what, no matter what, in 3 years, the non-compete will be up, maybe even sooner. And I'm going to retain the skill set. So I can literally do this on the other stores as well. And so we did. And, I know that store actually, I stay in touch with that person. He did not touch the Google ads for 2 or 3 years. And he sold it for probably like triple.
Jeez.
He just added a couple suppliers and just let it rock.
That's crazy.
And so that's, I know you talk about that, Jared, like the consistency of the Google ads, the evergreen nature of it. And that really, it's crazy to see what happens if you just let a store build and build for years.
You said, I remember, was that you cleared the runway. And I mean, obviously you've grown into so many things at this point. Like, I'm sure you still stand by that.
I do, and it's something that I have a hard time doing myself. Like the store in 2 weeks thing, we can never do that now because we have too much going on. I would need to, and that's why outsourcing really, you realize, becomes the key to it all, because your time can only be in so many places at once. So to commit, 2 weeks to making a store, I mean, at this point, the skeleton of the store is actually really easy to replicate. So we could probably do it in 2 weeks, but we have so many things going on. But for new people, and if it's something you haven't done before, like I know that if I don't accomplish something, it's because I didn't put all my focus into it. So you can accomplish anything, theoretically, if you have enough time and you have enough energy to put into it. But majority of people, they have jobs, they have lives, and so they come home, all their energy is drained. They don't have the energy and the focus left to put into building a business. So it's kind of the same thing. We have a lot of things to do, and I'm sure so do you guys.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, honestly, looking back at it, it's kind of crazy. And how long ago was it now that you sold the store?
2018, March?
So,
no, I don't know, 2018.
And you don't think you're gonna, or do you think that you're gonna just replicate it? And
Well, we actually can now because it's sold to the person who bought it, sold it to someone else. So the non-compete is actually only between those two parties at the time of the sale.
Wow.
So, we could do it. We talk about it, but if we do, it just won't be in the same way because it's just not necessary at this point. We have, we didn't even talk about the blogging side of things yet. And so we just have so much going on. Like we have a store that we're really working on to build to, say, a 7-figure exit. And so it's not an urgent thing for us. It's not a clear the runway situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so you mentioned the blogging. Can you kind of just go into more detail, like what exactly you mean by that?
Yeah, so, obviously we were doing the dropshipping thing for a couple of years. And then at a certain point, we decided we were going to try to figure out how to rank organically on Google because we were having these results doing the paid traffic, but we knew that there were other sides of doing online marketing. People were, say, ranking for different keywords organically, getting free traffic and monetizing it with affiliate links. So we knew that was something we were lacking. So Joe essentially split off from doing the dropshipping stuff, and for 2 years dedicated himself to learning how to rank organically on Google, like SEO, through creating content sites, blogs, whatever you want to call it. And we talk about clear the runway. We talk about, having the focus to do these things. That was really hard. We took him entirely off of what he was doing, so he had nothing else to focus on for years. And so eventually we were able to come up with another formula for how to systematically get really good rankings in Google for high intent keywords. And then you can monetize that with Amazon affiliate links. You can monetize it with just regular like Google AdSense, so people clicking on your ads on the page. Or where we really brought it full circle, you can use it to rank for things and send them to your high ticket dropshipping store.
Yeah.
So that is really, because we realized if we can just learn this skill, the 2 years will easily be worth it. Because we know if we can generate $3,000 a month, we can easily sell for $100,000. Any sort of content site. Content sites sell really easily because the traffic is really consistent. It's really verifiable because you can always see the earnings from, say, Amazon affiliate or what have you. People love content sites. So yeah, that's what we did, and it's worth it. And we have a couple writers on staff at this point, full time, that just are writing articles for us constantly. And so that's like search engine real estate, we call it. We're just building up our search engine real estate and monetizing it with ads, affiliate links. We even have a content site that's related to our Kindle stuff.
Okay.
So
have you had more success using this SEO method with your dropshipping stores, or doing it straight as an affiliate, so you don't have to deal with the headaches of customer service and stuff like that?
The dropshipping is definitely most profitable, and that's because, as you know, when you sell the high ticket things, that's the big revelation, is the energy that you're putting in to make $5 or $20 profit on a product. You can use that same energy and make $1,000. So yeah, at this point we have our stores outsourced in terms of customer service. We have a team that does that. So yeah, that is really has been one of the biggest breakthroughs for us, because now it increases the amount that you can sell for, not just because your profit is more, but because your traffic source is diversified.
Yeah. I think, drop shipping, what people really don't realize is it really is just a lifestyle business. It's not the type of business where you need to be passionate about anything regarding it. You just need to be willing to grind, to put in the work, so you can literally just live your dream lifestyle. It's really what drop shipping always was about. Me and Mike always talk about this, and I'm sure you and Joe do too. It's like we were never really passionate about it's almost like the moment you can get out, you get out. Like once you've made enough money, it's like you I remember one time, like I said, I know we've said this in other podcasts before, when I was talking about how I wanted to be a millionaire, and you were saying, how are you going to do that? By answering customer service calls all day. It was yeah. Honestly, now I can say the best thing I ever did was completely free myself from all customer service duties on the main store that I operate. And it's really just allowed me to spend my time building things I truly am passionate about. Obviously, I know you made the comment about social media, and the truth is, obviously, people ask me this question as they ask you guys, oh, why do you sell a course if you're making so much money from all these businesses? Well, for me, I can honestly say it really is the most fun thing for me to sell. Selling, I hate talking to customers on the phone, but I love talking to potential clients. So it actually, the whole point about,
and you're leveraging your knowledge.
Yeah.
You'd be stupid to not go and do that when there are other people that are doing it and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, they're literally scamming, and it's crazy because we had one of our successful students fly out to the house yesterday, and he gave $10,000 to an e-com automation guy, and it was literally a scam. Yeah.
Yeah, we hear that all the time, man. $10,000, $25,000. It's so ridiculous. And I'm a competitive person, Jared. I don't like that these other people are making money selling these things that don't work, when I know what I'm doing is better.
Yeah.
And you and I, we went to a dropshipping meetup once in New York City, and if you recall, no one there was successful besides for you and me.
I do recall.
So it's not saying that to brag at all, but we really have put a lot of time into creating this idea of building it as a system, not just, I don't know the way other people think about it, but we do it so that the more you do it, the more the skill set builds, and it, like we were talking about before, it's a long-term game.
Yeah. 100%.
Exactly, and I think that's why people don't even, something that people don't realize when they go through, different, or at least our course, and actually taking action on this, is that you're learning a valuable skill set that you're never going to forget. And so, I mean, like you showed, like we show, once you do it once, you now have the skill set to just keep on duplicating it.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much up to you. Like you said, like you said, Jared, when you want to just get out, you're like, all right, well, I use my skills. I built these stores. Like, let me just sell them for 7 figures. Like,
yeah. And it's funny. It's because like, not only is it building a skill set that you can use for other parts of life, but it's like there's so many businesses that we've seen grow and then die. But I've honestly never seen a high ticket dropshipping store grow and then die. Like, obviously certain months are better than other months for certain stores, but I've never seen a store go from doing 6 figures a month to just being dead. Everyone I know that's reached the point of doing 6-figure months consistently is doing 6-figure months consistently. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, so many of these low ticket people are doing 6 figures once and then they're never doing it again. I mean, Mike, me and you, or Wavy as we call him, I know we've been doing together on one of our stores almost 30 or maybe even 30 straight 6-figure months. I think we're at 29 now, actually. So it's kind of crazy.
That's why you're the sixth god. Yeah, no, that's totally true though. I haven't ever thought about that. I don't know a lot of people that were doing 6-figure stores and then something happened and their store died. Really the worst that could happen would be, say, like your supplier shuts down and you had a really good supplier, but there's always more, and that would suck if that happened, but there would be a way to get back on top, because honestly, in the end, it does also come down to consistent traffic. So if once you have 6-figure months, you're kind of just going to leave those Google ads running, and you're only going to build off of it. And so, yeah, that's a good point, Jared.
Yeah. So I mean, Mike, you obviously, we went through a couple different business models here. At Build Assets Online, you guys teach all of it? You focus on one? Like,
so yeah, we've created courses for the dropshipping stuff, which is instant e-commerce asset, we used to call it, and then we have the Kindle course, and we also had the SEO course. And so recently, we've actually just decided to merge everything into one along with our membership. So we have a Discord community. So it's like a big chat room. There's different channels for dropshipping, different channels for Kindle, SEO, all that. You get access to all of our courses, and you actually get a private one-on-one thread, like a private message chat with Joe and I. So we merged everything into one membership. It's just a monthly price, and you get access to all the courses, you get access to the community, and you get access to the coaching.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you guys have spent your whole lives kind of accumulating this knowledge. It's pretty crazy that now, people are able to get it in one spot. So we'll definitely be sure to put that in the bio.
Yeah, and I mean, the truth is, obviously Mike and I can say, like, look where we're living now, and it's honestly because of learning from you guys. So I mean, obviously we're always, we always want to show gratitude, and we always want to show how appreciative we are for everything you taught us. Because even though we're at a point in our lives where we've actually made it for ourselves, it's like we'll never forget who actually is the one that brought us up in the first place.
Put us on.
Yeah, no, absolutely, that means a lot. And I could throw you the ball, but you still gotta run it into the end zone. You know what I mean? So
you bring a horse to water.
You guys definitely did that, and now it's you're doing a celebration dance. So
yeah,
good job. But yeah, if people want to check out the membership, it's just gonna be buildassetsonline.com/membership.
You got it. Buildassetsonline.com. No, buildassetsonline.com/membership. Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll throw it in the bio. Mike, it's always a pleasure every time we get to talk to you. Yeah, I actually learned like 10 things today in this one call, so I might have to go back and rewatch myself. Thank you.
That's good. And no, before we hang up, I do want to say the membership, it's actually limited enrollment, so we only have 50 spots, and it closes at the end of the day tomorrow. So that'll be September 30th at midnight. The enrollment closes.
Awesome.
So whenever you're seeing this, it may be closed, it may not be closed. So just think about that.
Yeah, and we're gonna put it out tomorrow, probably early in the day, to give people a chance to get in there before midnight. So
For sure. Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely.
You know,
Midnight Eastern time,
Eastern,
not
yeah.
Vegas time.
Not West.
The sun
Not
won't
West.
still be up.
That's why it's dark over there. But also, guys, don't forget, we still have our free ebook as well. Check that out, link in the bio. And yeah, Mike.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you, guys. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Wow, that was fire. Even after I said bath vault.
I think you said that at like the 40-minute mark.